Some of the most ruthless people you will ever meet often end up admired, not despite their behavior, but because of it. Have you ever noticed how certain people lie, manipulate, step on others, and still seem to rise faster than everyone else? While honest people hesitate, they move without guilt. While others overthink, they take what they want. And the strange thing about people is, most don't truly respect kindness as much as they claim they do. They respect confidence, power, status, results, even when those things are built on cold behavior. I am the Watcher, and here, in Shadow Insight, we observe the hidden mechanisms behind human behavior. Because there is a reason mean people often appear successful. A psychological mechanism most people never fully understand. It is not simply about intelligence or luck. It is something far more uncomfortable. And by the end of this video, you may start seeing successful people very differently than before. If you've ever felt disturbed watching arrogant, manipulative, or selfish people constantly getting ahead, stay until the end. And if human nature fascinates you, subscribe to Shadow Insight, because some truths only become visible once you stop looking at people through their words. Watch carefully. Mean people rarely waste time asking for permission. That alone gives them an advantage most people underestimate. In everyday life, you can see it everywhere. At work, the aggressive colleague interrupts constantly, speaks with certainty, and somehow gets noticed first. In relationships, the emotionally cold person often appears more desirable than the one who gives too much attention. In social groups, the loudest person is often mistaken for the strongest one. Have you ever wondered why confidence is so easily confused with competence? Because human beings instinctively react to signals of certainty. Not necessarily truth, not necessarily kindness, certainty. And mean people often display it naturally. They hesitate less. They apologize less. They fear judgment less. While empathetic people worry about being fair, mean people focus on winning. That changes everything. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to avoid conflict. But someone who is comfortable creating discomfort immediately gains psychological control over the interaction. You can feel this dynamic during arguments. One person tries to stay reasonable, the other attacks emotionally without restraint. And strangely, the aggressive person often appears more dominant in the eyes of others. Not because they are wiser, but because they project force. Human nature reacts strongly to force, even when people publicly condemn it. The strange thing about society is that people often say they value kindness while unconsciously rewarding domination. You can even observe this in small daily situations. The person who cuts in line with confidence, the manager who pressures employees without empathy, the manipulative friend who knows exactly how to control attention in a room. These individuals understand something instinctively. Most people are easier to intimidate than to inspire. And over time, those willing to ignore guilt, empathy, or hesitation can move through systems faster than people constantly questioning themselves, at least on the surface. But surface behavior is rarely the full story. Have you ever noticed that mean people rarely seem emotionally exhausted? That is not accidental. Most empathetic people carry invisible psychological weight. They replay conversations. They worry about hurting others. They question their decisions long after situations end. But someone with low empathy experiences human interaction very differently. For them, people are often obstacles, tools, opportunities, or sources of validation, nothing more. And that changes the entire psychological equation. Jung believed that people hide parts of themselves they fear confronting: aggression, dominance, the desire for power. Most people suppress these impulses because they want to remain socially accepted, but mean people often suppress far less. They express what others secretly restrain. That expression creates a disturbing illusion of strength, especially in competitive environments, because confidence without guilt can look almost unstoppable. Have you ever wondered why some manipulative people remain calm while everyone else becomes emotional? Because emotional detachment creates strategic clarity. The less emotionally affected someone is, the easier it becomes to take risks, exploit situations, and make ruthless decisions. Meanwhile, empathetic individuals often become trapped inside moral hesitation. They think about consequences, about fairness, about loyalty, and while they reflect, someone else acts immediately. Adler once suggested that many people pursue power to compensate for hidden feelings of inferiority. This is why some of the cruelest individuals are not internally strong at all. They simply learned that domination protects them from vulnerability. Control becomes armor. And over time, their coldness starts looking like confidence to the outside world. But the deeper mechanism is even stranger. Society often rewards visible outcomes more than invisible ethics. People admire wealth before character, status before integrity, influence before emotional maturity. As long as someone appears successful, many people ignore the damage left behind them. Human nature has always been vulnerable to appearances of power, even when that power is deeply unhealthy. But this is where the illusion becomes dangerous, because success achieved through fear, manipulation, or emotional emptiness always carries a hidden psychological cost. A cost most people never see at first glance. The uncomfortable truth is this: mean people do not succeed alone. They succeed because human beings often cooperate with dominance, even when they hate it. Watch carefully what happens in social groups. Once someone appears powerful, confident, or socially valuable, people begin excusing behaviors they would normally condemn. Arrogance becomes strong personality. Coldness becomes discipline. Manipulation becomes leadership. The label changes because the status changed. Have you ever wondered why people suddenly tolerate cruelty from successful individuals? Because many humans are psychologically drawn toward power. Nietzsche observed something disturbing long ago. People often admire strength more than morality, even when they publicly deny it. This is why certain toxic individuals continue rising socially, not because everyone loves them, but because many people fear opposing them. Others hope to benefit from staying close to them, and some secretly wish they possessed the same freedom to dominate. That is the hidden mechanism most people avoid discussing. Mean people are often willing to do what others emotionally refuse to do. They exploit weaknesses. They pressure boundaries. They use silence strategically. They understand guilt. And they know how easily human emotions can be manipulated. Meanwhile, emotionally healthy people assume others think similarly to them. That assumption makes them vulnerable, because kindness without awareness can become self-destruction. The strange thing about people is that many only recognize manipulation after the damage is already done. At the beginning, manipulative individuals often appear charismatic, confident, ambitious, even inspiring, especially when they know how to control perception. And modern society rewards perception constantly. Social media rewards appearances. Corporate systems reward results. Group dynamics reward confidence. Very few environments reward deep emotional integrity immediately. That reward usually comes later, quietly, and often invisibly. But there is another truth people rarely admit. Some individuals would rather follow a cruel leader than become invisible beside a kind one, because humans fear social irrelevance more than they fear moral contradiction. That is why toxic people can gather admiration while leaving emotional destruction behind them.
Not because human beings are purely evil, but because insecurity, fear, validation, and ambition constantly shape human behavior beneath the surface.
But here is the part most people avoid confronting. The problem is not only that mean people succeed. The deeper question is, why are humans so affected by them in the first place? Have you ever noticed how easily confidence changes your perception of someone? How quickly status influences attraction, respect, attention? Most people believe they judge others rationally, but human psychology is deeply emotional. A person who appears powerful can unconsciously alter how others interpret their behavior, even you. And this is where the discomfort begins, because at some point in life, almost everyone adapts their personality to survive socially. Some become quieter, some become colder, some learn manipulation, some hide empathy because kindness once made them vulnerable. Over time, many people slowly build emotional armor without realizing it. And sometimes, the people who hate cruelty the most eventually start imitating parts of it. Not openly, subtly. They become emotionally distant, more strategic, less trusting, less forgiving. Because repeated disappointment changes human behavior. The strange thing about people is that pain often teaches the exact behaviors they once feared in others. This is why some individuals become obsessed with power after periods of humiliation, or why certain successful people seem emotionally unreachable. They are no longer seeking connection, they are seeking protection. But protection built entirely on control creates isolation. And this is the hidden reality behind many successful mean people. They may dominate rooms, control conversations, accumulate status, yet internally, they often trust no one. Because when relationships are built through intimidation, manipulation, or superiority, genuine closeness becomes impossible. Eventually, every interaction starts feeling transactional. And that is the psychological cost hidden behind their success. Not everyone pays it immediately, but human nature always reveals itself eventually. Because a person who constantly needs power over others is often trying to escape powerlessness within themselves. And once you begin noticing this, you stop envying certain forms of success. You start questioning the emotional emptiness hiding underneath them. So, why do mean people always seem to succeed? Because many of them possess advantages that society quietly rewards. They hesitate less. They fear judgment less. They pursue power more directly. And in a world obsessed with appearances, confidence is often mistaken for strength. But the deeper truth is more unsettling. Their success does not only reveal something about them, it reveals something about human nature itself. People are drawn toward status, toward certainty, toward emotional force. Even when those qualities hide manipulation, insecurity, or emotional emptiness underneath. That is the hidden mechanism most people never fully realize. Mean people often succeed because human beings unconsciously reward dominance long before they understand character. But eventually, another reality appears. Power without empathy creates distance. Control without trust creates isolation. And success without inner peace becomes a performance that never truly ends. Human nature always reveals the hidden cost with time. The strange thing about people is that many spend years chasing admiration, only to discover they no longer know how to feel genuinely connected to anyone. And maybe that is the real question. Not whether mean people succeed, but what kind of success slowly destroys the person achieving it. I am the Watcher, and this has been Shadow Insight. If this video made you see human behavior differently, leave your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe to Shadow Insight for more psychological truths most people prefer to ignore. But before you leave, have you ever wondered how many successful people are secretly terrified of losing the image that protects them?